to the show, everyone. If you were in this office, you'd see a sea of all colored blues. It is awesome. I have with me Teresa Kiernan, and she is with DRYLUX Restoration. And we're live on Facebook, so everybody out there, look in this room, you can see it is full of blue. Welcome to the show. Tell everybody that, listen to the show. Tell them about Networking Arizona, and that is what networking is all about. So hi to everybody out there, like us and follow us. We're going to share the show later on. Listen, Teresa, I want you to tell everybody, because what we want is for people to pick up the phone and call you and tell you what they've dealt with. Maybe you do a second opinion for them. When they think of restoration, it's fire, it's flood, it's storm, it's wind,
mold,
hail, all sorts of stuff. It's gonna be that season around the corner from us, and we really wanna make sure that we're on top of things. You talk a little bit about DRYLUX and how long they've been around, and then why everybody should put their number in their phone.
Absolutely. Well, first I have to say thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
We look like Easter eggs kind
Yeah.
of for the spring.
It's Easter coming up.
So thank you. And yes, I'm with DRYLUX Restoration. And a couple things. With the DRYLUX has been around for 18 years. Family owned and operated, well known in Arizona, in the state of Arizona, based out of Gilbert, which is great. Everywhere I go, I see DRYLUX. But with the company itself, DRYLUX is great because we base the company as far as, the honesty, the quality, the time it takes in the case of an emergency, the empathy that goes into it, just the honest team that pulls together when there is any type of a disaster, because you never know when the disaster is gonna happen. Family owned and operated, it's like we're gonna treat you as if you are our family, because we know what it's like when, in the event that there's a disaster.
Especially you, personally.
Myself personally, right.
And you also come from the insurance side. So you understand how this all works. Now, first of all, we want you to know that a lot of people do call their insurance company right off the bat when something happens, but they shouldn't, should they?
No, they should not, because in the event that there is a claim, I mean, your first impression, oh my gosh, you have damage, whatever the case may be, calling an insurance company, and I am gonna put this out there, unfortunately, the minute that phone is answered, the company's documenting everything. That is, it's a ding. It is something that's being documented to where, for instance, if you have a $10,000 deductible, say there is water damage, you have storm damage, you have mold damage, and restoration work does need to be done, your claim might only be, say, $3,000. Using this as a for instance, you're gonna be it's still gonna be documented, you're gonna be paying out of your pocket anyways. Call an expert first, instead of you kind of going through those steps, having that ding on, that's documented for your home with your insurance company. Insurance companies do not like claims.
Well, put this number in your phone,
They do
because
not.
you never know when something's gonna happen, and you should put it under reputable restoration company. 18 years here in the Valley. They are located in Gilbert, but they work statewide. Their phone number is 602-881-1398. They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they do free in-home estimates. Now, what I know about them the most, what you've said, is quality and experience is what they're all about. They're both residential and commercial. You could check them out on their website. It's DRYLUX.com. Check them out. They just love promoting themselves. Look, we've got these delicious cookies here. We've got the pens. What have we got? Well, those are when you want to kind of squeeze your hand and make stress balls. They've got stress balls too. They have everything, because they are trying to help everyone. When you think about restoration, to think about DRYLUX. That's what it's all about.
Right.
That's what they want, because you are going through probably one of the hardest times of your life at that time.
It is, because you're invaded. I mean, your privacy is invaded. It's like going into your drawer of discretion. Everything of you has been violated. And now that you have to have a company come in, team come in, they're also in that space. So it is a very emotional time. your walls, you know, have to be torn apart, you know, depending on the extent of it, and it's not clean, it's a mess. You know, you have to bring in blower fans that are gonna blow and completely dry everything out, but it's, you know, knowing how, I'm gonna use myself as an example, how I, you know, felt, it's having to have that done, but also knowing that there's a team that are going through it with you step by step. You know, they have that empathy because they, you know, they know what it's like. Your space is being torn up.
And
you're being rerouted from everything.
Here's what it says right here on your card. Why choose DRYLUX? Our goal is to restore your home to its pre-damage condition as quickly as possible. And I think
Right.
that is what people want so much. I mean, and everybody thinks, you know, you're gonna call your insurance company, and because my insurance company, they're all for me, you know, they're gonna protect me. No, that's not necessarily the case.
Right, because in the event you do file a claim, it's gonna take time because now you're gonna have to have a claims adjuster come out. They're gonna have to take a look at it. There's photos involved. There's a process, and some folks might not want to at that point. They might wanna wait for their insurance company to decide. And, you know, you could have the odor, you could have the damage, the mold could be spreading, which you do not want. So there's a lot of factors that come in. So getting it done quickly, easily,
And
you know,
the big
it's
thing is
possible.
fast.
It's fast.
The other
yeah.
thing here it says is emergencies don't wait for business hours, and neither do they.
Right.
What they'd say is that we're here to help around the clock. We can be anywhere in the valley within 90 minutes. Write this number down. Again, it's 602-881-1398. Put it in your phone under reputable restoration company. And you can check them out on their website. They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They're both residential and commercial and statewide. 602-881-1398. It's DRYLUX.com. Before we go to a break, I want to just talk really quickly about the monsoons that are going to come up.
Monsoons are a very unique time because this is a time too that you are going to notice that there are cracks, there is damage. Because of the dry season, everything could be dried out, but monsoon will actually
Bring it out,
unfortunately. So make sure, you know, we can talk about that too. We're paying attention to cracks in the walls, ceiling, I mean, marks on your wall that actually look like there's a shadow. There's a lot of factors that go in. The smell, the odor, you know, can pick up as well, you know, during monsoon too, so a lot of
and
factors.
during monsoon, if your roof flies off, you know you definitely have a problem. There's a lot of different things that can happen, especially with the monsoon season that's around the corner. Again, you can call them direct at 602-881-1398. Put it in your phone under reputable restoration company, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Hang tight, we'll be back in just a minute. We're gonna keep on talking because we are live in the room. I hope I'm doing an okay job with you.
I like spaced out.
No, you're fine.
I didn't have my coffee today.
You're fine. You need a cookie? No.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
But you know, I think that they need to know that that's the things here, what they wanna get out. They wanna get out that you're right there in 90 minutes at any time. You're ready, even if they're not, they're saying they're ready, even if they're not. I'm just reading some of the different things that they're saying here.
Right, and you know what, it's great, because there's times I've had to call in that a client's reached out to me direct, and I'm getting it over to the team, and it's funny because they're like, we'll go out there right now, and I'm like, no, wait a second, and I'm trying to make sure.
Right.
You know, so the team has been that responsive, which to me was great.
Mm-hmm.
We've had to switch around some appointments because of things with clients, but the times that I have sent them over, I liked it because they were like dispatching them out.
Right, get them out there right
Yeah,
away.
getting them out there right away.
I think that everybody wants to know that they're being taken care of and getting it done as soon as possible, especially when it's just a mess. We're gonna also talk about fire.
Yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately with the dry season, the wind, the storms we've been having, there's been a lot of fires that
Oh, yeah.
prompted up.
yeah.
And
yeah.
fire, it does take a little bit longer. There's a process because there are certain permits that you do need.
Mhm.
However, getting somebody out there, making sure it's boarded up, because the home has to be boarded, you know, wherever, business has to be boarded up properly in order to get those other steps. And with fire, the one thing unique is in the event that there's an investigation, we can't go in until that investigation's done, because you can't move anything.
Oh,
But
oh my gosh.
properly boarding, also
Oh, yeah.
is key, because it needs
Yeah.
to be, make sure it's boarded up.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's
I forget, because I know all this stuff. When we lost our house in the Northridge earthquake, there were windows that blew out,
Yeah.
and that, we couldn't stay on our house, and we had to have them, boarded up, and it have to be done, especially with certain things like that,
Yep.
correctly.
And if, in the event that it's a fire and an investigation, the fire department's gonna look at it to determine the cause, but if it's raining, it takes a little bit longer, 1 or 2 stories, it does take longer for them to investigate, so yeah, more of a reason to have it boarded up properly before we can go in, but it gives us time then, because there are special permits that go in there.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's kind of, it's a different world, it definitely is, so, I always forget about this.
What's that?
Warped flooring, I
Okay.
think we talked about that last
Well,
time.
yeah, we did, I think so.
With the hardwood, yeah.
See, that's Doc right now, that's Hypnotic 1.
Is it? Yeah.
So welcome back. We're talking restoration in this room, and you can see it everywhere here. There's one thing about Teresa and DRYLUX is that they really love to promote the company. They want you to think when something happens, you think about DRYLUX, and they just love it. I love the cookies that they have also, they're very good. They also do cotton candy for anybody too, and that's one of the things that you just have is the greatest swag that I've ever seen anyone have.
It's a reminder.
It is, and you know what, you
yeah.
need it, and one of these days, everybody's gonna have these little magnets that are gonna go on your refrigerators.
That's right.
Because, you don't know when it's gonna happen, and that is what it says right here. Emergencies don't wait for business hours, and neither do they. And one of the things that they want you to know is that they can be anywhere in the valley within 90 minutes. They work around the clock for you. They not only are gonna restore your home to its pre-damaged condition, but as quickly as possible. We wanna also talk a little bit about some of the different things that they can do. We've talked about, obviously, water damage is big, and we know that monsoon season is around the corner. We also talk a little bit about mold, fire. It's terrible. Anybody can have a fire, and when you do, now it could be even having to be investigated and all sorts of things. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what they do.
That is absolutely correct. So with fire, and that could be something that, of course, as everybody knows, happens unexpectedly with the winds, with the storms coming, especially if it's dry.
With the way you cook?
With the way I cook, yep. With the way, that's actually a very common one.
More than anything.
Electrical work, whatever the case may be, 4th of July, fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that ties into what might ignite a fire. Cigarette, somebody tossing a cigarette out the window.
Candles.
Don't do that. Candles.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of factors that tie in, and unfortunately, that could lead to a fire, which then, could start, say, in one house, could go to another. There's a lot of fires out off of, I think, the 17 and Broadway, down that way. There's a lot of, I think there's some junkyards, there's pallet yards, but all of that can spread, or it can be in a home and spread. But in the event that happens, yes, the fire department does have to investigate, because they need to figure out what the source was. For instance, if it's a home, the number one thing is, one, it's gonna have to be investigated if they do not get right to the cause right there, but you still have to board up your home in order for the restoration company to come in. So the services, the fire department, police department, they do not do that. That's where the other party is called in. That's where DRYLUX would come in, to where that's your restoration company that picks up once they leave off, to where, investigation for a fire, you cannot do anything restoration-wise when it comes to a fire, especially if it's being investigated.
So it has to wait until that's done.
Correct. So you have to board up the home until you get the okay to do that. Fires do take, you do have to have a permit to go in there. You have to make sure that everything's in line to go ahead and start that restoration, but it starts, determining the cause, boarding up, then restoration comes in.
And
it's
by
a
the way,
process.
what she also wants everybody to know is that, your insurance company, everybody right away, they call their insurance company, but she's here to tell you, she worked for insurance, how long?
I worked for an insurance company for 20 years.
So-
I've been licensed agent for 10.
So, but
10?
20 years that you were in this industry,
Right.
you know that everybody has a deductible.
Mhm.
And, if you're gonna call them and they start a claim on you, or they start writing things down, right away now, that's in their system. And then you can get dinged with that, and which is awful. So what you wanna do is you wanna call them first, have them come out and check, because they're gonna be honest with you. That's what they're all about, is honesty and making sure that they take care of you like family. And finding out, is this gonna be the same amount as your deductible? If it is, it's better off for you to go to them and have them do the work, as opposed to putting it through your insurance company.
Right, because then it is filed as a claim. Insurance companies do not like the claims, and there's some insurance companies, unfortunately, that will not insure you. Water claims, they do not like. Water claims are just,
And you'd think that we don't have a lot of water here, but when it rains, it can rain big time.
believe it or not, there's a lot of water claims out here.
Yeah, and you know what
really
there is
are.
too, what people don't realize? Hail.
Hail.
There's hail, there's wind, there's all sorts of things that happen, and it may not even be your home. It could have been your car, you're right? I mean, there's a
Right.
million things that can happen to anybody at any time here when we least expect it. Even floods, because the way that the water rises so fast.
Right.
Some of the areas are not developed for that.
Correct, and if you think about this, if you tie in a fire, then you have rain. If you think about it, when something burns, say for instance, I'm gonna use up north, it burns through, the plants and everything, there's nowhere for that water to go because it's all burnt. So now guess what, we have monsoon,
Mm-hmm.
it rains.
It floods.
We get 5-6 inches of rain in a matter of an hour. Now it has nowhere to go. So now it's gonna be rushing, down streams. It's gonna find a way.
Through your home.
Water will find a way. It's the same thing in a home. Water will find a way. If there's a broken pipe, it will find a way. Mold will find a way if it's not done properly. But yes, monsoon season, unfortunately, there's always flooding somewhere.
And mold is huge here, and if you have mold in your home and you're starting to smell something, it's probably been there a lot longer than when you just started to smell it. That's number one, and number two, it's so bad for you. A lot of people that are dealing with respiratory problems, it's really coming from something in your home.
Right, and it could not only affect the humans, it could affect animals
Aw.
too, but humans, yes, asthma, I mean, if you think about it, the factors with breathing and everything, so it's always to keep a sharp eye out and, looking for that. You have some type of leak if you have rippling of floors, peeling paint, a wall that looks like it potentially could have a shadow, cracking in the walls. Always look for a lot of those factors.
Well, what they do is free
potentially.
in-home estimates, that's
We
what they do.
And the estimates are free,
They're free.
yes.
Because you've heard people that offer free and then they're not free?
Yeah, they are free estimates to come out, and we're not gonna go in and there's folks that we have gone out and, we're not just gonna tear up a wall just because there might be a crack. No, we need to see if we can, identify a source, see if there's moisture. There are certain meters that you can use as well that we would use to determine that, but we're not just gonna go in and rip something up just because, and that estimate is free.
When you think of restoration, you think of DRYLUX. That's what you want to think about, and it's going to be pounded at you soon so that you can remember it. And again, it's their phone number is 602-881-1398. Put that number in your phone under reputable restoration company. They are located here in Gilbert, but they work statewide. They've been here for 18 years. It's a family-owned business, and they treat everyone like family. They know that when you're going through something, it is the toughest time in your life, and they're there for you. Not only are they there for you, they're there for you quick, within 90 minutes, anywhere in the valley. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They do free estimates, and you can check them out on their website. It's DRYLUX, DRYLUX.com, both residential and commercial. That number again is 602-881-1398. What I tell everybody too, you bring quality and you bring experience and you bring the family touch. I'm gonna just say
Absolutely.
that.
Yes,
See,
100%.
somebody's going out for a fire right now, somebody might be in a fire, and they need to call us.
That's right.
That's a fire, if nobody can hear, that's a fire
Probably
engine
not.
going on. So what else, I mean, would you wanna get out there for now? Water, fire, water, storm, mold, they even do, I'm gonna talk about it, we really should bring it up. We should bring up about, biohazard. Biohazard, is something that can happen to anybody at any time. You wanna explain that a little bit?
By anytime you have a biohazard,
A death.
emergency, a death that comes up, hoarding in a house.
Wow, that's
sitter,
right.
You know, there's hoarding, there's the sitters, what do they call them?
Squatters.
Squatters is what sitters, they sit, but yeah,
They
same
squat.
thing, it's the same thing. The police come in, but again, it's not something that they take care of. There is another company that is to be called for those cleanups. So that's where, you know, you do wanna, reach out to a restoration company to come in. You never think of that unexpected, say if it's a death, when that happens, you know, they can come in and unfortunately remove a deceased, you know, but the cleanup to make sure that, you know, all the body fluids, if there were blood, anything, all of that is properly cleaned up, because it is a hazard.
It's not just using Windex, I'm
It's
just
not-
saying.
No, it's, you can't just use bleach, and you might
Right.
see that in movies, and we'll just clean
And I
bleach,
think that-
it doesn't work that
And a
way.
lot of people do think that the police take care of all of that.
Yeah.
They don't.
They
It
do
is
not.
your responsibility. And again, if you have a hoarder, or if you know a hoarder, sometimes that could be absolutely horrendous what's
Yeah.
underneath all of that stuff.
Vacant homes.
Okay,
A
and then
lot
with
of
the
vacant
squatters
homes,
that are taken,
squatters.
and homes that are being, I know people who have left their homes and they don't do anything about it, and there's food that was left there,
Yes.
all sorts of things. There's a real good reason why you need to have a good restoration company. Go ahead.
And you know, the point to make with the homes, rentals, Airbnbs, when the folks leave, when the snowbirds leave and go back I mean, that's usually a time too, because you're not there watching, monitoring every day what is going on.
That's why you need to have this phone number in your phone.
Absolutely, these are just huge factors to always keep in mind when it comes to needing a restoration company, and always keep the number at hand, so, you know, you can call in the event there is an emergency, because we're not gonna wait, you're not gonna have to wait for an emergency. We're
That
gonna be
number,
there.
that number to call them direct is 602-881-1398, both residential and commercial. They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They do free in-home estimates. Check them out at DRYLUX.com. Put the phone number in your phone. You never know when you're gonna need it. It's 602-881-1398.